Good afternoon, YouTube. It's me, Alaway George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. I hope everybody enjoyed their fourth. You get out there, shoot some firecrackers, eat some barbecue. I had to do some running around this morning. I went to my sister's house. She already did a little cookout, because it was too hot. She was waiting for my niece and my nephew to come down. So she already did a barbecue. So I got a plate a little early, so I don't have to worry about being out there in the sun. I hope y'all enjoy your holiday, and also I hope you enjoy this coming weekend. So, folks, as a content creator, I always want to reach out to people that interest me and interest my channel. And also, as you know, I'm expanding into other divisions. As I'm going to admit my crime, I am a muscle person smart. But I really have been getting into just earlier this week. I interviewed a lady who is an IFBB Pro bikini competitor, and now I'm interviewing IFBB Pro figure competitor. This is the lovely Mrs. Natashia Marshall. She just competed last month at the Toronto Pro, where she made her IFBB Pro debut. So we're going to talk to Mrs. Marshall, see what her plans are for the rest of the years and what got her started in sport of bodybuilding. So, ma'am, welcome and thank you for coming here with us. And the first thing I want to ask you ladies who get into sport, how do you get started in sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
How I got started? Yeah. It was a long time ago. It was really bodybuilding and competing wasn't as widespread and commonly, talked about. I think part of it was social media was newer. But I did my very first bikini competition. I started in the bikini division and I had, very, very small amount of muscle, which then was okay. But I had a personal trainer who she just said, you should think about doing this bikini competition. And it scared the hell out of me, really. I was one of those girls that, wasn't super confident in a bathing suit, even just at the beach or at the pool. And it really scared me. And so, she kind of pushed me a couple of times and I didn't know anything about it. And I think because it scared me and because she was a little bit persistent and I was kind of like, you know what? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Try something that's scary. And I really thought I would just do the one competition, overcome that fear. And that was in 2011. And yeah, so a long time ago. And then I just, we could talk more about it. I don't want to ramble too much, but that's how it started, with one bikini competition that spiraled into now, what is that, 13 years later, an IFBB Pro figure competitor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process. I know bikini's been around for a good bit. A lot of ladies who I've talked to in interviews, that's the vision that started. Some women start out in bikini, go up to figure, go as high as physique, and even all the way up to women's bodybuilding. And you have wellness as a new division where some women who have certain genetics that it fits them a lot better. And I think,
can I please get just a little bit of that wellness genetics? No, just kidding.
Here's the thing: why we often say this. We often say this on my channel. It's for my man, my brother, Mr. Big Keith Williams. He's IFBB Pro. Says you have to have those strong Afro genetics that helps out.
If I could have just a little bit of that genetic gift to get these legs going, man.
Yeah. We got here some people here. My man Balls Deep, gotta watch out for him. He says, good afternoon, gorgeous. Yeah, he's saying that. He also said to Balls Deep, says, what up and salute, thank you. He says also, his moniker, Chicago in here. I know you're in here, Balls Deep. Shout out to my man, Russ G Photography. Says, afternoon to you, brother Russ. Also, Balls Deep says, smash that like button. Thank you. He said, my man, Russ says, I ate too much. I know it
had a few extra bites for me.
Yeah, I know you're on prep, so you can't eat too much when you're on prep because especially this is one of my favorite characters. I often refer to a lot of, especially when you ladies on prep. It's it's a movie years ago. This is probably before your time. You look like a young girl, and it's called a movie called New Jack City, and it starred Chris Rock. His character was called Pookie, and he was a drug dealer, began crack. And sometimes there's a scene in the movie where he says it be calling me, be calling my name, man, be calling me, be calling me. And that's how when you're out there, you go to a barbecue and somebody's cooking up ribs and sausages and turkeys, and then y'all prep and you got to eat dry chicken kielbasa. You look and say, they calling me, man. They calling me. So
Oh, that's totally how it be lately. Like I am getting hungry. Well, I'm getting tired of being hungry actually, but we're so close. We're so close.
yeah, yeah, it sounds like a song. Yeah, I'm tired, getting sick and tired.
Yeah.
But anyway, so your first start was bikini. What was that like for you that first time on stage?
It was oh, it was so scary. It was so scary and it was almost like not blacking out, but almost like you go out for the first time in front of those judges and in front of those people under the bright lights, and you go through the motions, and then you're almost like a little bit outer body, almost not even present, and then you get off stage and you're like, wait, did that just happen? Yeah. Oh, that just happened. I just did that. It was it was very scary. And then somehow, and I don't know how, somehow I took first place in that first show. And so it was kind of like, oh, maybe, maybe I could do this. And I had overcome that fear, and I just loved, or got hooked on doing the hard thing, and how good that felt to do hard things or do the uncomfortable thing.
Yeah, think about this. This is a tough sport, especially for anybody who gets into it. There's a lot of time you got to put in, sacrifice you got to make. I know there's days where get up in the morning, you got to get ready and work out. Your diet's the one thing. That's the thing. I mean, I know there's times when somebody might be cooking something nice and I can't eat it. I'm on prep, and
Yeah.
And it's a sport that you got to love when you get into it. We have here coming from my man. Ballsy says, peace and blessings, beautiful. He's
Thank
a
you.
fan.
Thank
He
you. Thank you.
says, salute to the chat. Also to my man Russ G. I says, Charleston, South Carolina here. He's right there down the road from where I stay. In the
Nice.
country, we say he's right there down the road, but Charleston's like a good 100 miles from where I live at. But and also my man Ballsy says, I still drunk off of Don't Say and Americana pack on deck. Yeah, man, quit drinking.
Pack on deck.
Yeah, something he drinks. He always, and also he said she's sexy and swole as AF. Oh yeah, he says that. Also, he's like this smoke gang, gang, and shout out to my man Rusty. He says, congratulations on your longevity. And like I said,
thanks.
yeah, because 13 years, I've known ladies who have competed as amateurs like 20, 30 years before trying to get a pro card.
Yeah.
I've seen some ladies who I interviewed a couple ladies who had gotten their pro card within the time they made their debut, and then boom. I mean, what was that feeling that first time? Because you got your pro card at the North Americans. That was in 2022.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy because well, I mean, I had been so close. I know you've like done your research and everything, and that's awesome. Like we appreciate that you do that for your guests on the show. But I had been so close. I had been one place away from my pro card, I think 5 times. So just missing it by that one spot. And then when I finally got it at North Americans, I won the overall for the open division, and I won the overall in the 35 and over division. And it was just like I'd never ever expected such a validating win. After I had been so close at my pro card several times, I thought, I think if I just keep trying, I think if I keep getting better, I could get this. But I always imagined I would kind of like squeak in, like maybe I would get it with a second place at USA's where they give it to top 2 or something like that. I just never imagined it could be like that I would get an overall and just, kind of win the whole division. So it was really validating, and it really just like lit an extra fire in me to see what I could do or how I would stack up as a pro. Because if I rewind like 10 years ago or to whatever when I first started competing, I like the pro card wasn't a dream, it wasn't a mission. I just fell in love with bodybuilding and the process and the lifestyle and so many things about it, but I wasn't on a mission to get a pro card because I just didn't think I was actually capable of it. And I know, like, especially now, like, where bodybuilding is a little bit more widespread and common, some people, they get on this mission. They're like, cool, I'm going to start competing and I'm going to go pro. And that just wasn't how it was for me. So, it was a evolving journey of just loving the process, loving bodybuilding, loving getting better, that turned into, getting that overall.
You got to do sport for the love of it, because, like I said again, the sacrifice you have to make physically, mentally, financially. You
Yeah.
know, there's so much to the sport. Like, one thing is, for you women, it's the expense is a lot more on you than compared to the men. The men just got to wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. That's
Right.
about it.
It's so
Yeah,
different.
yeah, you women, you have to as a presentation, both have the
Yep.
muscle and femininity, especially in your division, where
Yeah.
you have to wear. The one thing is that those high heels. I mean, you have to be
Oh,
on stage.
the freaking high heels, the sparkly jewelry, the very expensive, like our posing suits covered in, crystals. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. And I was thinking about show day, like when I competed in Toronto a few weeks ago, and we were backstage, and there's like a bunch of us women, and I chose this pump up room where there was a bunch of men in there too, and I was just looking, and I was like, man, thinking about what their morning had been like versus mine. My alarm had gone off at like 3. I think my alarm had gone off at 3 a.m. because my makeup appointment was at 3:30, and then it was like, check-ins, and then my tan was at like 4:45 a.m. And then, I was just all these things to get ready for show day. And then there's the guys over there with their little bag, and like they're not worried about their eyelashes or their hair, or are my earrings perfect. It's so different. The fingernails, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything, because all you gotta do is put on slap on some tanning. You don't have to worry about hair. You can just you like this, just cold, clear
Yeah.
cut. I mean, it's just like I say is there's like I remember I talked with this one lady. She's a figure pro also, and she
Yeah.
she mentioned how it is percentage of the sport is you women. If you think about it, you have women's bodybuilding, you have figure, fitness, physique, wellness, and bikini. Well, you just have with the men, you have men's open, 212, the
Yeah.
classic, and also physique. And as we noticed that the prize money is not as lucrative compared to the men. And I've said this often, and if you know anything about the pimping game, the men's division, especially men's open, that's the bottom bitch. That's the one that brings in sponsors and bringing money.
Yeah.
Wellness is getting a lot popular now because a lot of ladies who are switching over from either will figure one time, physique, or even bikini. Because
Yeah.
we mentioned earlier how you have those strong Afro genetics that helps out. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a comment from here from a man, Balls Deep. He says, "How was the 4th of July?" Well, mine was pretty good. I didn't do much anything. I just sat around the house, And what about yours?
It was good. It was really quiet, so I took my dogs for a nice long walk. I was in bed like when the fireworks were going off, and I was just trying to relax and not let it like affect my sleep, because like at this point in prep, if you lay awake too long and you can't sleep, you start to get hungry. And then it's like, oh, you can't go eat, you can't break your diet. So I don't know. The 4th was pretty quiet for me and relaxing. Today's my birthday, so like,
Happy birthday!
thanks, thanks,
Happy
thanks.
birthday!
But yeah, I'm 9 days. I'm 9 days out. So right now it's just like, laser focus, like doing everything I can to just finish these last 9 days perfectly before I compete again.
So, what's the show you're doing that year, 9 days out?
So Vancouver Pro.
Oh, Vancouver Pro. So, I just recently interviewed a lady. Her name is Gisele.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to do that show too. I think y'all
Oh,
both
cool.
will head to Toronto.
What division is she in?
Figure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her name is Gisele Heathcote.
Are you sure she's figure?
Yeah, sure,
Wait,
because
did you say she did Toronto?
I believe she did Toronto.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't. Oh, I didn't meet Giselle um at Toronto. I
yeah,
met some awesome ladies, but I didn't meet her.
yeah. I know
Cool,
she says she's going to do the Vancouver show, and and
cool.
that's
I'll have to
yeah,
look out for her.
yeah. I'll send the link. You check her out.
Awesome.
We have here a comment is from my man Balls Deep. He says this is this. How many times a week she trains? So how often do you train during the week? What's your schedule like when you're training?
For the most part, I hit 5 days a week. So I have two different leg days. I do one leg day that's more glute hamstring focused, and then my other leg day is a little bit more quad focused. I do a pull day, so back, mostly back, and then a little bit of biceps twice a week, and a push day twice a week. So I'm kind of on a push pull legs split. But my 2 pull days are different in the week, and my 2 leg days are different in the week. So 5 times a week, and then I do cardio twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Every
So
day.
when you working out, what's that workout you say, I'm so happy to do it? What's that workout say, yeah, damn, I don't want to do that shit?
What's that? What's your question?
Which one where you say like, damn, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. What's that one workout you the one you like the most and the one you just can't stand that you don't have to do?
Well, you know what? Actually, that goes back into like what the last year and a half has been like for me, which had multiple injuries in it. So at the moment, I am loving doing RDLs, Romanian deadlifts or straight leg deadlifts. I'm loving that because I can get a really, really awesome connection in my glutes and hamstrings. So that's my favorite right now. And then something I don't like doing, I honestly can't think of something. I can't think of one. I can't think of an exercise I don't like doing. I'd have to think about that a little bit harder.
Yeah, the
I
average
love,
one is
yeah, I love my training, but I think part of like how much I love training right now is I pretty much feel injury free, which is not how the last year and a half has been. So I think it makes me like extra grateful that I can I can train legs with minimal pain or without pain, like joint pain, and I can train like my shoulders without pain. So I'm loving lifting right now, even though my energy is low, like my carbs in my diet are so low that I'm not strong, but I'm just really grateful that I can go hit all these muscles without pain.
I can understand. Like, I'm getting a little older now. I got 2 bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's just stuff I've been doing for most of my life, working since I was 10 years old, had holding out 2 jobs,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, one of my first real job was I used to work at a gas station,
Okay.
and then I was working at a textile plant, doing those 2 jobs first,
Yeah.
and then I had another job here and there, and then I had this other job where I worked in a gentleman's club.
Yeah.
I had guys say, "Man, you working with all the girls?" I say, "Dude." I'm like,
Yeah.
just hey, if it's a good night, they're okay. If not, they're gonna
Yeah.
complain. It's just like any job with any person.
I bet that was
Here,
interesting. I
hmm?
bet that was super interesting.
Yeah, you get used to it. It's funny. Sometimes,
Actually, one of my clients right now works in a gentleman's club.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, we say gentlemen's club, but in the hood we call it the booty club. So that's where,
The
yeah,
booty club.
yeah, the booty club. Here is from man. Here's a question from Man Boss. He says, "Who coaches her? So who's your coach? Who you working with?"
It's Shelby Starnes.
Oh, he's the female bodybuilding whisperer. Oh,
Yeah.
I've interviewed a couple of his clients, and also some. I
Yep.
think you kind of his sister clients. I have Marilyn Yee. She was with him. My
Yep.
dear friend Amanda Schnooks. Quite a
Cool.
few other ladies. He is. I would say him, Nasir, and I would say throw in Trey Hodge and Brandon Curry are really the guys who really know and understand women's bodybuilding compared to much other trainers, because some trainers will give you the same cookie-cutter plan,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work because women are different biology wise.
Yep.
You can't put on the same amount of muscle compared to men, and
Yeah.
especially you're in a division that is not as big compared to like physique or women's bodybuilding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. I know some people think of figure as not like as muscular, but for me, like, and where I came from when I started lifting, like I got kind of a late start with lifting and like getting seriously into it. And I was a vegetarian at the time, like, and I hadn't been a real healthy vegetarian, like as far as like getting protein in. So I had almost no like muscle. So I've my mission has always been to try. Even though I'm not like huge and overly developed, right? I've been trying and trying for years to get big. So, I mean, I know genetics and stuff plays into that too, and getting a late start, but dude, I'm trying. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed a young lady. She's a vegan competitor, and
Oh
has a
yeah.
different type of diet compared to everybody else. I've interviewed natural competitors,
Yeah.
where the look is different compared to, especially competitors that do take PEDs or steroids or anything to help develop that muscle. And this is how we talk about this. that's a small factor to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I say like bodybuilding always gets this stink eye because of that. But you see it more in the mainstream than anything. But it's easy to pick on bodybuilding. We have here a comment from my man Balls Deep. He says, what keeps her going after 13 years? So what keeps you motivated? I know it's tough.
Thanks for the question. Thanks for the question. Yeah. I literally love the self-development that bodybuilding gives you. It's like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. It's making yourself by choice uncomfortable and doing the hard thing. And that is kind of addicting to be, get those wins of, yes, I did that hard thing, or no, I didn't want to go do that hour of cardio because I was already starving and exhausted, but I did it and I did it and I'm proud of myself. It's really like, I think that's self-development. And then to be honest, like, I think when I got that pro card and when I got it by not just winning my class, but I won the overall for figure, that also like helped me keep going because it was like, it was like the judges saw something in me that they liked is kind of how I took that, like to give me the overall. So that spurred me on as well. I won't keep competing forever or like too many more years. I turned 39 today, but I love seeing what I can do better and trying to improve all the time, like always trying to get better. And sometimes I think if I wasn't, or when one day when I'm not a competitive bodybuilder, like it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be a really hard transition to go away from being competitive with it. I mean, I'll always lift, but I really love the self-improvement, the discipline. I think like just learning and harnessing discipline is one of the best things that people can practice. And then when you put in hard situations that life throws you that you didn't choose, you can get through it, or you can like overcome hard things because you've practiced doing it so many times, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And she just celebrated, she's 39. She's still a baby. Because I'm gonna be 50 in November. I miss I miss
That's a
39.
big one.
Yeah, that's a half a century. Oh my God.
Do you
I
have,
said,
uh,
where
do you have big
times
plans?
go?
Do you have big plans for the 50th?
Nothing.
No. That's a
Nothing.
big one.
Yeah, it's another day. As long as I'm above ground, that's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. Here we got from my man Russ G. He says, "Happy birthday." This is from
Thank you, Russ G. I appreciate
this is
it.
from Balls Deep. He's an asshole. He says, "Merry belated birthday, old lady." Hey, she ain't no old lady. She's a lady, but
I'll
not
take
old
it.
lady.
39 years young today. Thank you.
Also, we got here for a man, Russ G. Shout out to Russ. Says, "Do you ever do any shows on the East Coast, or are you going to Olympia this year?" So, are you planning to do any more shows after Vancouver, or are you just, like I said, you want it done?
No, that's gonna be it for this year. But we were talking earlier about potentially like kind of scheming about next year. I think I will be at the Olympia this year. Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. 60th Olympia this year. And I'm in Nevada, so it's about a 6.5 hour drive for me to get to Vegas for the Olympia. So that'll be fun. And then I've kind of thought about next year competing a bit earlier in the season. And I have thought about doing that, the Charlotte show on the East Coast. And then maybe there's the Wasatch Warrior show in Salt Lake City. I think it's like 1 or 2 weekends after that Charlotte show. So I've kind of thought about that, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, appreciate that from Russ. He said, yeah. Well, folks, we're going to do this. We're going to jump into Natashia's social media for a bit, look at some pics and stuff like that, and talk about some things. And guys,
media. I'm awful at social. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to post more, but yeah, I haven't been very good at
me, I'm like a dinosaur. It took me a while to get used to using a phone. I'm like I said, yeah, you're much younger than mine. I have a niece that's just about your age.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I'm like one of the youngest out of 9, and I have like I have a bunch of older brothers and sisters, But folks, we're gonna jump in social media and we'll check some stuff out. Guys, if you want to follow Natasha, her links are in the description of this live stream. Check her out, support her.
Thank you.
But guys,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm gonna try to send, or I'm gonna try to be pretty present on social media and like do a lot on my stories when I go to Vancouver and hit that show.
Yeah, but guys, this is a rule I keep telling you guys, and you're gonna listen to me. No D pics. Stop it. Get some help. I know she's a pretty lady. You like her buff body, but come on. I think you have a husband, right?
I
Yeah.
do have a husband.
Yes, that's the last thing he wants to see. If somebody says, "Who says this is my wife?" and you
Yeah.
get a knock on your door and you get a punch in the face. So, guys, be respectful. You know my rules. So, we're going to jump into social media for a bit. And here he is, And you also, I see that you also do some training. I see you have some clients here.
Yeah, I do have a few clients on there. I'm not, like I said, I haven't been real great about sharing my clients, but I am a coach. I love coaching. I love helping people, become better versions of themselves. Oh yeah, she's a Ukrainian woman, and she came to me wanting to do her first bikini competition. That's Tatiana, and she competed. Actually, she competed a week before Toronto, and I was there to support her in Idaho. And she competed at, I think, 46 years old, and she'd had this dream since she was young in Ukraine. So that was pretty sweet. But yeah, I just love helping people. Most of my clients are lifestyle. Most of my clients are not competitors. Um, Oh, that was the last time I did USA's. That was a good look. I liked that look.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Likes the suits. Nice and sparkly. And
Yeah.
yeah, here's you are in North Americans.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you were proud of yourself after so many times, so many misses, you finally got your pro card.
Yeah.
So, as a competitor, what do you feel like you might need to get to that next level to, especially if you want to get to the big stage like the Olympia?
Yeah, I think I don't I'm just being realistic here. I don't think I will achieve the size I need like to get to that level to the Olympia. Um but I really want to, in this next off season, I really want to focus on healing and being able to grow my legs better. Like I kind of mentioned, I'd had some injuries um, the last year and a half, and I think it's limited my leg development. So yeah, I want bigger legs. I want bigger hamstrings, bigger quads, bigger adductors.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The process injuries is one thing that kind of slows down the athlete's process. The time you have to take off, the time you have to. I've known some ladies who had got surgery, and then it
Yeah,
was 2 or 3 years before they came back. Sometimes,
yeah. I've
I
had I've had 4 knee surgeries, and in May last, actually about a year ago, just over a year ago, I had a hernia surgery, and so yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years overcoming a lot of injuries.
yeah, that's the difficult part. You just, you have to really love this process, and also you have to, really understand it before you really fully trust it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the days, like I said again, I tell you right now, I'm getting older. I got arthritis because it's genetic.
Mm,
Sometimes I feel like my body just don't want to keep going, but I got to keep myself going. You got to
yeah.
keep motivated.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I'm proud. Hey, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for still doing what you can, even though you've got some injuries. Oh yeah, that's a. I think that was my second figure show ever. Um, in 2013, I think, versus 22. So that's 9 years of growth right there.
Yeah, you really has made some adjustments and developed and came a long way.
Thanks.
And here's another picture here. It's like, you know, what do you feel like is your best feature?
What do you think?
I think your shoulders look pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, maybe my shoulders. Yeah, that was like a little bit of off-season look there. Well, I was in prep there, but not too far into it. Yeah, maybe shoulders.
hmm And this is you're in the snow. This is Happy Easter. You know, yeah.
uh, yeah, we had quite a bit of snow, and I thought, oh, I should just go build a. That was Easter Day, so I built an Easter snow bunny.
Where we don't get snow like that in North Carolina. If it does, it can be half an inch and everything shuts down. And you're originally from Alaska. What was it like that growing up in Alaska?
Oh my gosh. Uh, it was like a different world, I think, compared to how a lot of people grew up. The town I grew up in was out in, we call it the bush of Alaska, so there were no roads in or out of that town. It was completely isolated. It was a town of less than 500 people, and it was about half Yupik Eskimo and Athabascan Indian, and then half white people. And we had a lot of like subsistence living. We hunted a lot. We had a dog sled team, a mushing team. Um, we didn't have a car, and I lived there until I was 17.
I can say I live in a very small town where it's like the boondocks. We didn't have, you have to sometimes we have a car, so sometimes we have to walk where we got to go, have to walk away from town. A good 10 miles to town, a good 10 miles back. We didn't even have one time we had a house. We didn't have running water or a bathroom. We had an
Oh, wow,
outhouse. Yeah,
that's
we used to.
crazy.
Yeah, it was things that made us tough. When we
Yeah.
moved up to town, we live here in the where I lived for the past 30 years. It's nice, but it's just something. Some things I miss that. Maybe just me growing up kid. And here's you are, you got your pro cards. You won both in your class, and also you won the overall.
Yep.
And you were very actually, you looked very good. You look very great. What was the critique the judges gave you at your last show?
Well, at Toronto, so it was interesting. It was a little disappointing. I wasn't lean as I wanted to be. Um, so I mean, that was the biggest one is I needed to get leaner. So that's why I got back, Toronto was what, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I got right back on the grind, and then I'm really excited to go to Vancouver and be leaner. I think I've lost about 5 pounds from where I showed up in Toronto. Um, so that was my biggest feedback, was to come in a little bit more conditioned. And then what I already know, which is I need more like shape to my legs, which to me means, and like I said, I know that like like I said, I've had 4 knee surgeries. I had proximal hamstring tendinopathy in this last off season too. And so like, I'm really excited in this next off season. I really, really want to hammer and grow these legs. So I think if I can add some more size to my legs, obviously that's not before Vancouver, but as I've gotten leaner over the last 4 weeks, my legs do look more muscular, right? As I've the cuts are deeper, the lines are deeper in my quads and my hamstrings, so my legs will look better in Vancouver in 9 days. But then in the next off season, I really want to add some size to my legs.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the legs is the most important part, especially with you girls in figure. It's the shoulders. You have to have that leaner look. You have that
Yeah,
that taper, the broader shoulders. Compared
yeah,
to if you look at the other divisions where you don't want too much styration in the glutes, but
yeah,
if you look at wellness, styration is going to be in the glutes anyway because that's a glute heavy division.
yeah.
Here we got from man Orville Hodge. He says, "Happy birthday! Congratulations in all your endeavors."
Thank you, Orville.
Also, this is from man Rose. Sorry, Russell G. He says, "I hate legs, especially the next day."
But you do it right, Russ.
Yeah, and also he says, "Arthritis in the knees suck. What would you recommend as far for how to train legs?" So, what would you recommend as a coach? And you do a lot, like I said, get a lot of lifestyle training. What would you recommend to
Yeah,
somebody who's dealing with stuff like? Because I know I have arthritis, and I got, it's sometimes tough days just to sometimes
yeah.
just move around.
Well, I mean, if you have arthritis, there's obviously in the training, like when you're training, you have to find things that you can do, which is sometimes going to be like maybe elevating your toes a little bit in a hack squat, putting a wedge under there, or elevating your heels a bit in a Romanian deadlift, or doing more compounds that are on a machine versus front squats. I mean, there's like a lot of training things you can work around, but also like with if you can if you can afford it or make it happen or save for it, I'm a real big proponent of PRP and or stem cell therapy for arthritis. Um, yeah, so I actually had PRP, the platelet rich plasma injections, like in my glute, kind of at the attachment point for my hamstring because my proximal hamstring tendinopathy wasn't healing. That's a cheaper, like stem cells is more expensive, but I think I currently don't have an ACL in my left knee, and I have multiple cartilage tears in my left knee. But I'm kind of thinking more about getting stem cell treatment versus getting another surgery that would set me back a lot. So for somebody, sorry, I'm rambling, but like
That's
for
sorry. That's fine.
if it was George or I don't know, or
Yeah, so that's Russ. That's Russ asking that.
Russ, sorry, Russ asked about arthritis. I mean, you definitely want to see what you can do to reduce any inflammation there. I mean, even just like taking turmeric every night, a really good turmeric supplement, like, but really dealing with inflammation and then trying to find exercises that work for you. And then another thing is eccentrics. You know what I mean by eccentrics? So when you're training, doing really slow negatives can really help stimulate the muscle with, and then you need less load while you do it. So like if you do, say you do a 4 second eccentric, a 4 second negative on an exercise, you're going to lower that for 3, 2, 1 push. You're going to need less weight. So an arthritic knee or leg might be able to handle that with slow eccentrics more than just driving a shit ton of weight.
Oh, that's pretty good. Thank you for that. And, it's good information somebody can use. This is from my man Balls Deep. He says you should come to Chicago for your birthday. And
Well,
he
I
also
would love to come to Chicago because I would really love some deep dish pizza, but it's going to have to be after Vancouver.
yeah, like I said, deep picture. People, especially from New York, saying that's like what it is like it's mud. It's not really pizza. So you know,
At this point, you know what? Anything. I'm eating so many. Like I'm on so low carbs. I just can't wait. Even like a frozen store bought pizza would taste amazing.
hmm He says, this is from my man Balls Deep. He says, she can train me anytime. We know what type of training you think about Balls Deep. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Also, he says, you know, she's shredded, because she's just about a week away from her next show.
Yeah.
And also, he says, and this is from man Russ G says, shoulders and lat look amazing. So, yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
good.
thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So,
I
like, so,
Yeah, I've done like all my own. Some competitors have somebody that programs their workouts or programs their training, and I have done all my own off seasons for the most part myself. So it's
yeah.
cool.
So, if we talk about food, so this is what I'm going to ask you.
Give me all the food.
So, what
I'm
was
so
that particular thing, Natasha? That
huh?
thing that called on you, that thing you wanted the most right after Toronto. What was it? Share with me. Share your anarchy. Yes.
There's
So,
your alter ego.
yeah,
Came out.
yeah.
Um, two things I want the most. I want good bread. I want good, crusty bread with a little bit of butter. I know that sounds simple, but like that combination of carb and fat, I want good, crusty bread. And I also really want some good red wine. I love good red. And, you go into prep, and I've had a really long prep because, Toronto was my first show. I'm very excited to have some good red wine.
hmm Yeah, you just want it simple. I understand. Like a lot of ladies, they want a little simple, like something a little sweet, something a little salty. Bread, most definitely, when your carb depleted, carbs is the first thing you want the most. You
Yeah.
just,
Oh, and peanut butter. I mean, peanut butter. I love peanut butter. I mean, God, I want some like the fats too, or a big juicy cheeseburger and
yeah,
French
my
fries.
you sound like you want the whole kitchen sink, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, uh, this is like I said, as a competitor, what would you think you would like to see most, especially for your divisions? Um, the shows. I think you still have a little more shows compared to like women's bodybuilding and physique. One example is like you're not at the Arnold anymore. Arnold, kick you out because you're getting too muscular. You're not too feminine anymore. I do the idea.
What's your question?
What do you feel about your division? How opportunities for it like it used to be? Like there's fewer shows. You seem like it, or is it like it's still trying to grow within the sport?
What would I like to see for the figure division? I mean, I'm so biased. It's my favorite division. I just think it's the best mix of muscularity, but also poise and class. And, our poses are pretty, I don't know, just poised and classy and like kind of statuesque. So I know, like, I mean, and I love the wellness division too, but like, the wellness division is really blowing up because that amazing look of those big legs and big glutes, I know that's really eye catching. So I don't know, I mean, I would like to see figure a bit more in the spotlight. um but how to do that, I'm not sure. I feel like there's some really good, like, social media, I don't know if you call them influencers, but there's some great figure girls that are doing a really good job of sharing their journeys and like posting a ton of content. I think we need more of those. Like I kind of have said a couple times, I have not been very good at that. I would like to be better, because I think the figure division is, like I said, it's just a great mix of femininity, but also, like, you have to work your ass off to get to that level too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, its division has been around for quite a bit. It has evolved in the last few years. Where you look at now, if you look at like someone like Sydney Gillen, who's the
Yeah.
champion right now, you look at someone like Jessica Reyes Padilla. I
Yeah.
know you competed with Amanda Winston. She was at the show, and
Oh yeah,
Amanda,
yeah.
yeah, she's the look is getting to the point where it's getting closer to physique.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I will pull this picture where I posted this a while back. Because I talk about, I always, like I said, I always try to, be informative, but also be educational. Where it was, I think, where is it? I had it here. It was, yeah, it was from the issue we were talking about earlier, Triple O Dynasty, and
Hmm.
also the Vancouver Pro. Now we have here the winner of the Triple O Women's Physique and the
Yeah.
winner in figure,
Yeah.
and it's Charlotte Pro, where it's starting to look like they're where is she? What happened? Hello? Natasha. We'll give her a minute. I think she might be having some technical difficulties, folks. Hello? So guys, we'll give her a minute. She'll come back. Uh she went out. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Can
You
you
know.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Can you hear
can't hear
me?
you.
Take yourself out and in. Go out and in again. Can you hear me now? Wait a minute. Let me see your message. Let me see your messages. Let me see your private. Just wait a minute. Can you hear me?
No, I can't. I don't have any audio.
I'm
I don't
seeing your
know.
message. You should get a message in a minute. Just take yourself out. Yeah. We'll give her a minute and let her come back. Because folks, anyway, folks, as you know, I hope we have a big show coming up. And also I have some interviews coming up. You just saw on my channel, I'm interviewing um, you know, Melanie Specco. We were supposed to interview last week, but things happened. You had to change plans, but we're interviewing tomorrow. Also, there she is. You know, all right.
Can you hear
Can,
me?
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It happens. It happens. It happens. But as we were saying earlier, it's getting to the point where it's like the women, more the women figure are more closer to women's bodybuilding, to physique.
Yeah.
Paula Ranta, she's competing at the Imperial. I mean, the Portugal Pro. She was a figure competitor, and
Oh
she
yeah,
made the
yeah. Paul.
switch.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you think you see that because like I said we're talking about Amanda Winston, a couple of ladies who were at that show. You think like there should be a criteria set where separates where certain women should maybe go up to a division and set the standards for what division should be.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And it's interesting to see some of the competitors that have transitioned, and then others that are still in the figure division, but just seem much more muscularly developed than what the criteria is. So it's kind of, I don't know, I think the lines are a little bit blurry sometimes, but you have to trust the judges, I guess. And but it's interesting. So I'm taller. I'm 5'8.5", and so I'm taller than a lot of, or maybe most, or a lot of the girls, in the figure division. And it's yeah, I just sometimes I feel almost small, like width wise, next to some of the other um, competitors.
So with the shorter girls, they can really put on more muscle compared to taller women. I've interviewed some ladies. One lady, Aubrey Meyer, she's like 6 feet tall.
Oh
She
wow.
was also, yeah, she was also this one lady who I know. We did a couple of interviews. Angela Nori, she's in Women Physique. She was at the show also, and
Uh-huh.
Angela's like about 5'10".
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
it's
impressive. I
yeah.
mean, shout out to those women, because, I mean, obviously there's a lot that goes into muscle building, but I just feel like I have these really long femurs, like my leg from my hip to my knee is so long. I don't know. I feel like that's maybe part of, and all the knee surgeries and stuff. But I'm just on this perpetual mission to grow these legs wider.
Yeah. Also, you have a study something before. You were in, was it Michael, was it biology or something? What was
Oh,
you studied
biology.
before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you get to that, and be a bodybuilder at the same time?
I always loved, like, when I was a little kid, I always was like a science brain, and like biology was just my thing, and I always thought I would be a marine biologist, and I did that for a few years, and then I just kind of fell into this path of, well, first I was more of a health and well-being coach, and I still do that, but it just kind of, I don't know, like, my path kind of meandered a little bit, but I only did the marine biology for a few years. But it was fantastic. It took me to a lot of different oceans around the world to work.
Yeah. What was that feeling like? I mean, me personally, I don't know how to swim. I don't know. I want to be out there in all that water.
This is what you should do for your 50th birthday.
What?
You should go scuba diving. You should. How cool would
Yeah.
that be?
I be sitting down though, man. I be like, no, yo, man, the
You
water.
should. You should go to, like, go south from where you're at, like the Caribbean or something, and take a scuba diving lesson for your 50th. It's a good idea.
Well, I can go to Miami. That's a lot closer.
There you go.
Probably the same thing. Yeah, maybe. I've been in Florida since we went to Disney World. We have here a comment from my man Tony97 says, "Hi, Natalia. You look amazing. Are you prepping for a show?" Yes, she's getting ready for the Vancouver Pro, and
Yes.
that
Look.
is that's in about another week or so.
Yep.
And yeah, and I would say I wish you luck on that show. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
yeah, because I think there's not so many shows in Canada. Like, you have the Vancouver Isle, you have the Toronto Super Show, the Vancouver
Yeah.
Pro. I've done some interviews with ladies who are from Canada. I think, it's one of the few countries where really bodybuilders have started growing,
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for it. Like I said, I wasn't quite in the condition I needed to be or wanted to be for Toronto. So I'm really excited to, this is my pro rookie season. It's my first season competing as a pro. I'm really excited to go to Toronto, or sorry, go to Vancouver and be in better shape than Vancouver before I wrap it up and go into off season. So I'm really excited for it. I know, like, I want to get off that stage and be proud of my conditioning. Whereas when I got off stage at Toronto, like, I'd had a great time, don't get me wrong, but I was like, yeah, I wasn't sharp enough. Like, my conditioning just wasn't there. So I'm excited to be proud of how hard I've been working, crazy hard, for the last 4 weeks to get leaner.
Yeah, that's just good. It's a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
to do this sport. It's not easy. Not everybody can do this,
Most
to
people are not cut out for it. I tell my friends, like, I had birthday coffee with one of my best friends this morning, and I was like, we were talking about our different kinds of crazy. Everybody's kind of got their kind of crazy, and my part of my crazy is like, yes, this is awful and it's terrible and it's hard, but I love it.
Yeah, you got to have a passion for it. I mean, most people wouldn't want to give up early in the morning, do cardio, and lift weights, but to get to that next level, you have to be determined. You have to love it, and you have to understand sacrifices. Like, I talk to ladies, and to tell me how things have changed in their lives because their friends and family don't understand it
Yep.
because it's something that you don't recognize. It's one thing were you an athlete before you were coming up? Do you ever these other sports?
I mean, I was a good basketball player, like when I was young, and then I started having the knee injuries, but yeah, no, then I didn't have anything, and I didn't start lifting weights till I was about like 26.
Mhm. Yeah, I was lifting weights when I was a teenager. I played football a couple of years in high
Cool,
school, and I was one
nice,
of the strongest guys on my team. And
nice.
it's good to have that sport, something that gives you the energy and the will to just keep on going. Like
Yeah,
there's days where now I say, you know what, I miss it in a way. But when you get into life and get a job, you can't always go work out. We hold down two jobs. You're working, you're feeding yourself. That. There's so much to the sport. And
yeah.
and what's your husband's name?
Sean,
Sean. And how
yeah,
long y'all been together?
a long time. We waited a long time before we got married. We've only been married. This will be our third year being married. This anniversary. But we've probably been dating for 9 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know he supports you because you're his wife, you're his love. I know there's days where he has to deal with the other side of bodybuilding, especially when you're hangry, you're in prep. I
Yeah.
know there's days you say, "Don't you touch me," and you're trying to be a good wife, but at the same time you're trying to be an
Yeah.
athlete.
Right.
Here we got my man Russ G says, FYI, added you on IG, Natasha. Thank you,
Oh, thanks, Russ.
Russ. Also, Russ says, I played the bench, aka the water boy. I did it one time. I did it one time. One time I did it because I missed my physical and I had to go the water that one time. I've been a water boy before, Russ, but I played football, even though it was like secondary team. But see, I played football. I like Al
Russ,
Bundy.
tell Russ that the supportive role is very critical, and the athletes appreciate the support, whether it's the
Yeah.
water boy or it's all good.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, we do appreciate time she's given us and sharing her
Yeah.
story. This is like I said again, this is a tough sport that people need to understand about. Back in the day when I was coming up, bodybuilding used to be on network television. You can catch it on ESPN and other shows, but now in the last few years, it's not as popular per se as it's the mainstream sports. And one thing always people are going to pick on is the steroid issue because always going to point the finger at it because but we talked about this earlier with one of my other interviews there. You have people like Marion Jones who got busted. You had Lance Armstrong. There was a fighter named Ryan Garcia who got busted. The whole thing that really blew up was during the Olympics. And the Olympics coming up, I think they're supposed to come up next week.
Hmm.
The whole thing with Ben Johnson. It's in everything, in
Yeah.
almost every sport, but it's so easy to pick on bodybuilding compared
Yeah.
to those sports.
I do think though that bodybuilding is having like a bit of a resurgence the last few years, don't you? I feel like it's really increasing in popularity too. And I think part of that is like social media is making it very visible and attractive. But did you see that the tickets for the Saturday night finals at the Olympia sold out within like 3 days? So I think that the popularity is really increasing.
Yeah, because this is the 60th anniversary for it. It's been around. The guy who runs the Olympia, and that's a guy who I'm a fan of. He saved women's bodybuilder. That's Jake Wood. Excuse me, I gotta say it. Can't say
Yeah.
his name. Yo, Jake. I
Hell
want
yeah.
that money. I want that gun. I got every time I say it, I gotta do my Denzel for training day once I say Jake's name. And it wasn't that long ago he put women's bodybuilding back into the show. And also, really, you have to respect people who really are fans of sport. I'm a fan. I was growing up. I used to follow like I grew up like that. Taylor Arnold's career, Lee Heaney, and then y'all women, y'all kind of blew my pubescent teenage mind. I was getting to those preteen areas. Swimming like Corey Everson, and Angela Langer, and Minda Murray, and all of them.
Yeah.
One lady I'm a fan of, and I'm always going to say I'm a fan of hers because I don't know. She's just amazing. She's so beautiful. I gotta always show a picture. I gotta give shout out to the
Oh
lovely
yeah.
Andrea Shaw.
She's amazing, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
She is. I know people who know her. The interviews ladies that know her. One of these days, I'm hoping she'll, come on here. I don't know. I might act like, a complete. Yeah,
I hope that for you she does. I know she's a busy lady, but I hope for
yeah.
your sake that she does.
Yeah, I hope so too. This is from my man Russ. He says, uh, LOL, say you welcome. Say, thank you, Russ. You appreciate that.
Oh,
And yeah, and the thing is about instead again, this sport is expensive for you ladies. The cost of training, traveling, you know, prep, your suits and everything. And I know some women to make their money, they have to do other things. Some ladies do, excuse my language, that's what they call the beat the meat
right.
websites.
Yeah.
But do you have sponsorships or everything's on your shoulders?
Right now everything's on my shoulders.
Yeah, I think sponsorship will help because you know, I said again, for you women, it costs more to compete.
Yeah,
Just not just throwing in the cost of your coach, your trainers, your food, your
that's
travel, your
that's a lot.
suits, yeah, the makeup, everything,
Yep.
and then you do a show where the prize money maybe not that much.
Right.
You know, if this was like any mainstream sport, I think you athletes should get paid a little something, especially you're a pro.
Yeah.
There should be something in for you that you deserve it. I mean, you put in a lot of work, and
Yeah.
we should get some out of it because this is really a sport where it's just you just throwing money in and money in and money in, and you're
Yep.
not getting much of a return.
I mean, if I could go back like 5 years and give myself some advice, it would have been to be more prevalent on social media and to like try harder to get some sponsorships. I'm not saying I can't now, and now that I'm a pro, but I should. But like, um, yeah, I think there are a lot of sponsorships out there, and they find someone with a huge like Instagram following more appealing, you know. And I didn't, so I should have probably worked harder at growing my Instagram following earlier.
Well, like I say, you're still young. It takes some time, and
Yeah,
I think this show maybe you might help you a little bit. You just got pick. You pick my man Russ. You might pick up some few people. That's one thing you have to really put into work, put in the time.
yeah,
If you want something bad enough, you'll get it. You got, it's just
yeah.
like the quote my man Rocky Balboa. It's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can take the hits and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Everybody
Yeah.
loves Rocky. Great movie, inspirational. Here, this is from my man Russ G. Shout out to Russ. He says, fan year two. Even though I may not know all the competitors by name, I love the hard work you all put in. Natashia, yeah,
Thank you.
I sometimes, like I said, for a good while, most of my focus was on women's bodybuilding, but I've been spending, I've interviewed lady in bikini. I hadn't got any wellness girls yet. It's hard to get to them,
Yeah.
They kind of but women in figure, some fitness competitors. I want to give y'all ladies the opportunity to share your story. You
Well,
know,
thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
I love. Hopefully that comes across. I love talking about bodybuilding, and I love the sport, and I love the lifestyle, and thanks for supporting us, and thanks for having me on.
yeah. Well, like I said, this is for my favorite movie, Batman Begins. You never have to, because like I said, this is what I like to do. This gives me a purpose, to give y'all ladies a voice, because I this is why I started this because and I'm always going to say this because dealing with my mother, she was sick for a long time, and I got into this to help my mentality dealing with her stuff.
Yeah.
And then when she passed, I said, I don't have nothing else but me. So I
Oh,
started, reaching out to you ladies and seeing your stories and saying, you know what, maybe something you know about y'all. And really, that's why I do this, because
yeah.
y'all do the voice. Because everybody's gonna pay attention to the men's open division because it's as I said against the bottom bitch. Everybody's gonna look at bikini welder because it's so attainable and feminine.
Yeah.
But you women in divisions like fitness, figure, physique, and women's bodybuilding, you work hard and
Thank
you
you.
deserve the recognition. I know people will make comments like saying, she's trying to be man. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is a beautiful woman right here, guys. What do you see manly about her?
Yeah.
There must be something wrong with you. You
I'm
know,
not trying. I'm not trying to be manly or masculine. I like being feminine.
yeah. This is from man, Russ. He says, how do you feel about working with photographer? And with any tips would you give to a photographer interested in working with as far as doing a photo shoot? And my man Russ, he does photo shoots. I will send you his link. You check out his stuff. And also, I know another guy. He also does photo shoot. He might be doing it again too. That's my man, Glenn. He lives right here in North Carolina. Would you want to work? Who would you like to work with if you got a chance to work with?
That's a good question. I did a photo shoot with Kai York a few years back, and I really liked working with him. Um, if you're asking me if I have somebody I want to work with, I don't really. I mean, I don't really have somebody out there that I, um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
So
like for a photographer, I think it's so helpful. I mean, I know some women or some people are just like naturally, like know how to pose, but I really, when I've worked with a handful of photographers, I really appreciate it when they are just like giving you some instructions or ideas. Try this, try this, try this, and they just like help you feel like really comfortable. If you, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not answering your question very well.
well, you answer the best you can, which what you got. That's good
Yeah.
enough. And and a guy like Russ, he does photography. I did an interview with Russ for a while back. He, like I said, he lives in South Carolina, which is just a little bit across from where I stay in North Carolina. He lives all
Yeah.
the way in Charleston. I think he's interested maybe getting. He wants to work with more
Oh
fitness
yeah, yeah.
competitors. Yeah.
Um, does is it Russ? Does Russ lift? Because I would,
No.
if he doesn't, or if he does, I would try to get connected at some of the gyms. Because like there's like my favorite gym in Salt Lake City. I just got connected with a couple of guys who like shoot content there, and they do a really great job. So I would try to get like connected with a few gyms, and then that's how you get connected to athletes or competitors, and then you just offer some, at first like some discounted shoots, or even like, hey, some like, can we do a 20-30 minutes photo shoot for free to help me build my content. And then yeah.
Yeah. He says to Russ says okay. He appreciates that, and also he says model and photographer interaction is key. Shout out to Russ. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, folks, we like I said, we do appreciate the time that Natasha gave to us. And here is people, people out there. If you want to follow her social media links in the description. Or here's one thing: if you're someone interested, maybe in sponsoring her, sponsorship does help. If
Yeah,
you have,
absolutely.
yeah, if you have a plan that works for her and it's something that could really benefit her in the long run as an athlete, but guys, you don't want to say, "Hey, Natasha, yeah, gee, I like to hear all of that. If I do something for you, no, guys, come on. You go like this. This is what you're supposed to do. You approach her like a gentleman. Says, Mrs. Marshall, we have a plan for you. We like your look, we like your style, we like your story.
Yep.
So if you're interested in our product and it works with what you want to go and benefits you, we like to make you one of our sponsored athletes. But it's
Perfect.
only if you're interested in it and it works with what you want to do as an athlete. And that's what it
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I'll hit that Vancouver Pro Stage in 9 days, and I'm going to try to do a pretty good job of being present on my stories and stuff leading up to that show. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good show. So thank you again for the exposure. This girl needs to eat pretty soon so I can go train back on my birthday. Lap focus today. Will be good.
Yeah. This is what man Rusty says. Collab. And also he's telling me this says, you are crazy, George. He said, I
Yeah.
told you I'm a particular type of criminal. And again, Natasha, I want to tell you something. You are beautiful. And Natasha, give me one more advice. If you're good at something, never do it for free. So, and
You are a
also,
little bit crazy, but that's why you're you. And yeah, that's what you
yeah.
bring to the table. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Also, my man Russ says, I will definitely share you in my story. Thank you.
Oh,
I
sweet.
appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Russ.
We appreciate when people like yourself who support these ladies and get them out there. They need that, especially bodybuilding is a tough sport. And we know, and there's a lot of time, money, and everything put into it. And if we get people to support these athletes and get them out there and get the attention, and maybe get sponsors who might want to, sponsor them, or get people that want to support them,
Yep.
those things help in the long run. So,
Yep.
because the future, she maybe even someday, eventually, she might get to go to Olympia. So, I want to say, yeah,
No, that's good. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. I want to shout, guys, can hear my man Orver Hodge, my brother Russ G, Balls Deep, Tony 97. All you who are here who watch this live stream, share, comment, subscribe. It's so again you can follow Natasha in her social media links are in the description of this live stream. You can watch it if you missed anything. Guys, I keep telling you this. I don't know why I have to repeat myself. You should have behavior, no D pics. She has a husband. She got dogs. She's a respectful lady. So I know you guys, you see these plump, buffed up women, you get a little tick in your pickle, but come on, have some common sense. You get more with a silk glove than an iron fist. I know what you're doing with that iron fist. So, thank you, Natasha. I appreciate the time you're giving me. I wish you all best of luck in Vancouver. And
Thank you.
yeah, and I
Thanks
hope
for
everything
the
goes.
support. Thanks for the support.
Not a problem. I said again, to quote my man Batman, you never have to. I appreciate doing this.
Cool.
Yeah. So, folks, we'd like to thank y'all again. We hope y'all had a great 4th of July weekend. We have some interviews coming up. Also, we have a busy weekend. I think I'm really busy this weekend. But, folks, instead of if you want to follow Natasha, social media links in the description. Support her, support all these athletes out there, and show respect also. Anyway, folks, see me on my way, George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bobby Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Have a good evening, good morning, or good night.
Peace.